I have been married for 2 years and my husband and I have always wanted to have children, but we have been unable to do so. We decided to see a doctor. This doctor was quite professional. We drove to another city and finally saw this doctor. The doctor recommended that I have a laparoscopic surgery. Soon we set a time for the surgery. It was a very common surgery for the hospital. I didn't talk to my family about having the surgery. I didn't want them to worry. The doctor told me it was a minor surgery and soon I would be able to go home. After the surgery was over, I saw my husband sitting next to me. The nurse came in and told me that I needed something to drink. When I tried to sit up, I couldn't lift my head, much less sit up. When I told the nurse how I was feeling, she looked worried. I was taken to another ward for observation. Not long after being in the ward, I was transferred to the intensive care unit. I saw many doctors gathered around me. They told me I had an internal bleeding. It needed immediate attention. The next day, my family arrived at the hospital. My mother, father, brothers, sisters and aunts were all there. My family was praying for me. For the next week, I was fighting for my life. As time went on, I became weaker and weaker, despite the efforts of the doctors. While I was still conscious, I heard nurses and doctors talking about my condition. They couldn't do surgery because the function of my organs was shutting down rapidly. They tried to stop the bleeding with medication and kept giving me blood transfusions to replace the lost blood. When the doctors had done all they could, they held a family meeting to tell my family that they had done the best they could. They gave me 4 hours to recover. If I didn't get any better in 4 hours, my family was going to have a tough decision to make. Later, I found myself sitting in the back seat of a car. When I got out of the car, there was a man standing in front of me, and I knew he was Jesus. I said, "You are Jesus, aren't you?" He didn't answer me. Just gave me a smile, and I already had the answer in my mind. We walked along the river for a while and we talked for a long time. I loved everything there. Jesus and I didn't communicate verbally. It felt like he knew what I was thinking, and when I had a question, I could get the answer right away. I saw his eyes and they were the most beautiful color I had ever seen. They were light brown with flecks of amber and shimmered with love. I asked Jesus, "What do you do in heaven?" He looked at me with a smile that human words cannot describe. He said, "I do what the Father asks me to do." Then he showed me an army of angels. They radiated a white light. They stood in the distance, shining with a dazzling light. As we returned the way we came, I looked into the distance. I saw many people walking across a bridge. They looked dull. But after they passed the bridge, they were dressed in white and all looked dazzling. I looked at Jesus and asked him if this was the way to heaven. He smiled and said, "Yes." I then asked, "Can I go there now?" Jesus said, "Yes, you can go." God asked me, "Are you ready?" I said, "Yes, I am ready." At this point I said, "I want my husband to come with me." Jesus smiled lovingly and said, "Your husband's time has not come yet, he cannot go with you." I looked at Jesus and said, "I want to be with my husband. That's why I don't want to go to heaven alone." Then Jesus took my hands and turned my palms upward. He said, I want you to remember something. You are a child of God. God loves every one of his children. God is also at your side at all times. I said, yes, I understand. Then he said, now you can go back, your family is still worried about you. I went back into my body. Soon I left the hospital. I learned a lot from this experience. The Bible is God's best gift to mankind to help us survive in this world. It is considered the most sacred thing in life. Misuse is a blasphemy against God. Satan and the devil are also real. Hell is real. The devil cannot appear in the presence of Jesus. When Jesus appears, they will retreat into darkness.